sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Speaks Clam Bar is an award-winning family-owned restaurant with 2 locations in Florida's Gulf Coast, Lakewood Ranch and St. Armand's Circle. A New York-style Italian clam bar, Speaks offers fresh, house-made pasta with homemade marinara sauce that runs on 3 speeds, sweet, medium, and hot. A wide variety of delicious, fresh seafood, craft cocktails, all joyfully served in Prohibition-style decor, have made Speaks Clam Bar a favorite destination for locals and visitors alike. Our unique approach to accommodating guests with dietary restrictions has made Speaks one of the favorite among doctors and health enthusiasts. Bring your family and friends to Speaks today or get takeout. Our teams are always happy to welcome you.
Welcome to the Business Kitchen Show, where every week we'll be cooking up some fun recipes to help you succeed in business. Our guests will be sharing time-tested and delicious business recipes, as well as some new cutting-edge ones. Every recipe has a story, and every chef adds their own unique flavor to the dish. Just like each business strategy has its own story, and owners work hard to make their mark. Here at the Business Kitchen, you can be sure to find your own recipe for success.
Well, hello, it is Thursday, and welcome to today's episode of the Business Kitchen Show. I would like to welcome my co-host, Tatiana. Hi, Tatiana.
Hi, Natalia.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm so excited for today's episode.
I am thrilled about today's episode. So we're going to let the cat out of the bag. Today is the season 1 finale for the Business Kitchen Show, and we have the most amazing episode planned for you today. It's going to be filled with the bloopers, all the mistakes that we have made, and the lessons that we have learned by ourselves. We're going to actually truly lift the covers and be very vulnerable today with you, and it's going to be a really good connecting episode. So stay until the end for sure.
Natalia, I'm so excited. It has been such a ride.
Oh, this has been a very wild ride. Yeah, so we originally started the show because so many businesses have been struggling through COVID. We have 2 family restaurants and we have some other businesses. And we felt that to give back to the community, we wanted to create a show that would share success stories. And we had the most amazing guests, and a lot of them were vulnerable, and they shared the mistakes and how they overcame them and the lessons that they have learned through all the different things that they have had to face. And right now, we wanted to end on a high note, and we want to ask you, our listeners, and make this all about you. What is it that you are looking for? What do you want to learn? What do you want us to continue with? What kind of stories do you want us to highlight once we are back in a few months? So we want to take this time to reboot, reset, and really connect with our listeners. So we invite you to go to facebook.com/Business Kitchen Show and send us messages. Write us stories. Tell us what have been your favorite parts from this season.
I really want to know everyone's thoughts on season 1, as much as I want to know what they want to hear for the next season. But more than anything, I think one thing we really wanted to do was give a big thank you to all the business owners that shared their stories on our show, told us everything they did with trial and error, what worked, what didn't work. And it really helped all the listeners out there, not have to do the trial, and heard directly from people that got their success from little things that they tried. So shall we go through the list of people that we've interviewed?
Yes, let's do it. So we have done the total of 15 episodes. Tatiana and I have done the first one. And then we had Ray Collins, we had Stephanie and Chelsea with the event planners. We had Matthew Kimberly, we had Natia Everett, Brittany Benyon, George Menezes, Jessica Rivelli, Rama Ginde, Moses Bernat, Katinka Banks, Ashley Cates, Lucia Robles, Rita Lohman, and Emily Rothkrock was our latest guest from the James Beard Foundation. We have spent incredible moments and shared incredible moments with these people. They have been so amazing with how much that they have shared. And we also want to give a shout out to our support team, to Dawn and Freddie at M2 Productions. So thank you guys for giving us so much support, and to the radio station, and just to everybody out there who have written us messages, who have supported us through this time. And we will be back with some more ideas. We just definitely want to hear from you, so connect. So that is our gratitude to everybody. Tatiana, do you think that we should dive into some of the mistakes that we have made, and the things that we have learned throughout the show?
Yeah, let's do it. I think they deserve to hear what actually happened on the back end of the show.
You know what's interesting, when you create a TV or radio segment, you definitely want to be professional, and you want things to be perfect. And it's all about really, it's about you, it's about the listener, it's about the viewer, it's about giving you amazing content. But we're really opening all the curtain and let you see behind the scenes. So let's start, Tatiana. Our first episode. Oh my God.
So my first episode, I was so nervous because Natalia, of course, has been interviewed so many times. She did a TED Talk. She has her YouTube channel. She's always on camera. And she's just, obviously we can all see, she's flawless. She makes it look so easy. And me, on the other hand, I've never done it before. So our first episode, I was so nervous that I took a shot before the first episode to loosen me up a little. And I had to have every single thing that I was going to say written on a note card, which is so funny because now I don't use any note cards. Both my hands are free, and we just kind of just flow the conversation.
Yes, that was fun. I took a sip, not a full shot, because I've always admitted that I'm probably the only Russian that has never had a shot of vodka. But also, thank you. I am definitely not flawless because I have made plenty of mistakes. So the way that we structure this is we talk to the people that we usually interview, and we create show notes. And there's usually a list of questions that we would try to go through and cover. And there was this one episode where I just had something in my head that I had to put down, and I didn't want to write it because I didn't really want to look down, so I started to type it. And all I'm getting is the text messages from Tatiana and from my producer, Natalia, stopped typing because they could I did not realize that you guys could hear this. So that was my big face plant. It was so embarrassing, but hey, you see, we're not flawless even when we try to be really good, and we really try to get the juiciest information, the juiciest advice from our guests. That was my big one.
And I think that's one of the biggest thing we've learned together. We really wanted to make sure that we gave them so much information, so our eyes looked down pretty often to see our phones to remind us on what we wanted to say, to make sure we touched on everything. And then when I'd watch back, I was like, oh man, Natalia, it looks like we're not paying attention and we're just, updating our Facebook status, but really we're just communicating with each other to say certain things or reading our notes to make sure we got everything out there.
Yes, and with all of that, that was that desire to create that perfect segment. And what we have realized through the 15 episodes that we have done together is it's, like we wing it now. The last 2-3 episodes, we had that outline, but we have realized how important it is to really truly focus on what the person is saying. And the questions just started to naturally come up from the information. So we knew the outline of what we wanted to cover, but it just became so much more natural. And that was a really good big lesson, is while wherever you are getting ready for an interview, you have your talking points, but it's so much more important to really flow with the situation. And I have done a bunch of interviews, and every time when it's really natural, when it is, you go with the flow and you get kind of goofy and you let your personality shine. I know I just did an episode with Dateline, a cooking segment for daytime TV, and I had such a good rapport with the anchors that, you know what, forget all the talking points. We just had so much fun. We had such a good time, and it was natural, the flow. So less perfection and more connection, I think, is the biggest lesson from this.
And one more, if anybody's ever planning on sharing AirPods with someone else, keep in mind, one AirPod listens, the other one is a microphone. So on one of our episodes, Natalia and I, we shared some AirPods. And if you go back and watch it, you don't hear me at all because she's wearing the microphone. So you just see my lips moving. So that was a good tip for everyone.
Oh, yeah, that is a phenomenal tip. So I think that we want to dive into some of the biggest lessons that we have learned for ourselves and from the feedback from the audience, from the guests that we have had on the show. So the first one is the mindset. So when the pandemic first started in March, and so many people just went into the state of shock, and we had some guests that had just opened businesses or had to pivot in some kind of a massive way. And what I have done with our teams at the restaurants is I have about a decade of background in studying various aspects of wellness, and that mindset piece was huge. So instead of we're getting stuck in that fear, instead of getting stuck in that state of paralysis. What we have done is we said, okay, look, we just have to keep moving forward. So for us with our restaurants, we immediately were able to pivot our operation overnight into takeout and delivery model, which we were very fortunate. The entire team came on board and we were able to execute really well. But it started with that mindset. We just said we have to keep moving forward, even if it's little things, little improvements every day. But that was a big one.
I think for everyone, learning to make adjustments was huge. We had so many guests that they had a storefront, and one of the things they had to do was go 100% virtual, create some online classes, or just host, meetings or planning events online. Everything went 100% virtual. And I think that's something that every business owner, no matter what they're doing, has really learned to do over this.
And also with the mindset part of with this is we might be really good at what we are doing this, and we're doing it a certain way, but the biggest part was that you have to be ready to make changes. You have to keep learning, because so many of us had to adjust to new technology or new ways of communicating with customers, new ways of accepting payments from customers. So be open to change. That was a big one. And then the second lesson was getting help. You don't have to go through this alone. Now, we had Emily on the show, and she had shared so many phenomenal resources that are there. And sometimes that help comes it could be from a family member, or from a friend, from a mentor. James Beard Foundation collaborated with KitchenAid right now, and they're providing mentorships for women in the restaurant industry, which is huge. But Tatiana, what are some other ways that our viewers and listeners can think about? How do they get help? How do they get a coach or a mentor?
So for sure, friends and family is a big one, but think about accountability circles as well. People that have the same goals as you, and you guys just keeping each other accountable, or even networking events. I know that, there's a website, it's called Meetup, and you could just search your city and networking events near you, and you find people in different industries, just women, just men, people that specialize in a very specific thing. That's like the biggest thing that I've used personally, is those networking events and accountability circles, and mostly, friends and family with fresh eyes that aren't involved in day-to-day aspects, that can kind of see things from the outside and can give you their view on things. Always having another view is so important.
Oh, that's a great point about having the peer accountability circles. Find your local networking organization. You're right. It's so helpful because when we deal with our business every day, we only see what we see. We don't know what we don't know. And it's really helpful to get a fresh set of eyes on the situation, and or even to have some of the coworkers, or have a business partner. I have been listening to this podcast by Guy Raz, and it is How I Built This, and he actually just released a book based on the podcast. And in one of the chapters, it is talking about the importance of having a partner, somebody to bounce ideas off. And it is because, like I had mentioned, we only know what we know, and it's so nice, and it could be so refreshing to get another perspective. And even if it's somebody that you just say, look, I had a really hard day, I'm right now in this group, and we have an accountability call once a week. I have a business coach, and we have an accountability call at least once a month. He's always checking on me. Surround yourself with that support system, because that is priceless.
That's so important. What's another big one? I think another big one that we've taken from these episodes would be marketing, for sure. So many people have talked about, thinking outside the box and using social media marketing, or tips on email marketing, or again, networking, hosting those events, whether they're virtual or in person, with social distancing, things like that. Marketing is really the way to get eyes on your business. And Natalia, I know you had a lot of good tips on email marketing in that episode. Can you share some of those?
Yes, so we did an episode with Matthew Kimberly. He created a program called Delightful Emails, and we'll put it in the show notes on the Facebook right after the show. Please check it out. Email marketing is huge. So for us at Speaks, I actually write all of our emails, and over 2 years, we have a huge list. But it's not just about having a really big list. It's about having a list that is engaged. So you're not emailing blindly to your guests. Try to get as much as engagement as you can. Now, we have done so many different things with our guests. We had our guests pick out a new pasta die that we wanted to buy. Pasta die. So we have this. We make all of our pasta fresh in house, and we have this big fancy pasta making machine from Italy, and we have certain shapes of pasta. So a pasta die is this attachment that goes on the machine that produces different shapes. So we had our guests vote on what new pasta we should add. And something that we also have done during the pandemic was we were looking to introduce some more budget-friendly options. So we surveyed our audience through the newsletter on which options they wanted us to add, whether it be different flavors of paninis, or I get half a panini and a cup of soup, and there was a couple of other options, and the response is always incredible. So whenever you are doing any kind of social media post, so if you write an email, there are different parameters that they should follow, and the biggest one, it's about engagement. This is social media. This is not about putting something out there and not having any feedback. Whenever you present any kind of information, get feedback. Just like we started this episode with, we want to hear from you. What do you want us to talk about? What would you like us to go deeper in with? What do you think, Tatiana? I know you have had some good experiences with marketing as well.
Yeah, for me, I usually focus more on the social media side of things. And for me, what I try to express to people is, of course, investing in social media is an investment, and the expectation is to get a return. But at the end of the day, you're also trying to build a presence. You're trying to seem friendly. You're trying to build that culture online so people think of you when they want to go to a certain business. And the goal is to create that culture so that people come in and they feel like they know you based off what you're posting online. And, I was running a promo for a restaurant yesterday, and it was kind of interesting because they pulled back and said, we're not going to make too much money off this promo. And I had to really tell them that that's not the idea. The idea is to build that culture, to seem friendly, to do something for the community, maybe just to build that presence for them. And usually when you stick to that, you stick to your vision and why you started it, it makes it so much easier.
Oh, yes, that is so important to get that live feedback, to get the community engaged, to create such raving fans. And I love what you said is that when people come into your business, you want to already pre-establish that level of trust. You don't want to be, I think that the time of the businesses where they just put out information like this is what we do, I think that's over. It's about creating excellence in customer service. It's about creating it's about co-creating the experience.
And if you think about it, what are some businesses that no matter what, they're a best-in-class service and everybody always returns? Think about places like Chick-fil-A, where the experience, no matter what day or time you go, the staff is so nice and they're known to go out of their way and change your car tire or kill a spider in your car or just something silly like that. Or, things like Amazon or Target, just all these places that, you don't even need to go there, but everybody talks about it and everyone knows that the experiences they get when they go there, which is what really matters.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And you and I, we talked about the book that we just recently finished off. It's called Delivering Happiness. It's by founder, CEO of Zappos, Tony Hsieh. And they're all about what can you do to up-level that experience for the customer? How can you surprise the customers? So I know the examples that they've been given is like they would surprise upgrade somebody to a VIP shipping or free shipping. So think about it. What can you do? I know for us at the restaurants, if somebody comes in for a special celebration or an anniversary, we always try to do something really special. And it always is so nice when it comes as a surprise, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. And at the end of the day, it's you wanna treat people how you want to be treated. And I feel like if you keep that in the forefront of your mind, you're gonna create those special experiences for your customers. And that even reminds me of the episode we did about gifts, giving your customers those little gifts that they don't expect, that they'll keep on them, that are so handy, and it'll just keep you in their mind every time they see that thing.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I love that episode. Lucia had so many fabulous tips. And then another big thing is, how do you show up? How do you show up as a leader? How do you show up as a person? How do you continually maintain that happy attitude? Because that's a big thing. Because I just did an interview for the national show called The List, and we were talking about creating that excellence in customer experience. Because nobody wakes up and Googles a 1-star rated business and say, I'm going to go out and have just a crappy experience. No, we always strive for excellence, just like what we have done with Business Kitchen Show. We have been learning, we have been creating, every show has been better and better. And we are so excited. So this is not going to be goodbye. This is going to be, we'll see you in a few months. And we are so looking forward to connecting with you further. Do you have anything else to add, Tatiana?
One last thing, based off the last thing you said, with Emily and how she shared this, was something that stays true to my heart now is, staying true to yourself. And even though you're coming in and you're showing that positivity and you're trying to be a leader, just make sure you stay true to yourself and don't ever feel like you need to be something that you're not to get there.
Oh, yes, that was such a good point. Emily actually brought up 2 or 3 great points, and I'm just going to bring them in, and then we'll do the wrap up. Know your numbers. Don't be afraid to show your vulnerability, just like what we did today on this episode. And just like Tatiana said, be yourself. So we invite you to follow us, visit us at facebook.com/Business Kitchen Show. Send us your notes. We want to stay connected, and we will be back in a few months.
Thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
Healthy Intent inspires you to live a healthier life. It's so easy to bump health down the priority list behind the business phone calls, family commitments, and, let's face it, anything else, until we are diagnosed with something that forces us to make a change.
Their online Healthy Cooking Academy has incredible classes that will help you make significant progress in your kitchen, whether cooking for yourself or your family. Or you can subscribe to Healthy Intent YouTube channel for quick tips and more fun recipes. We all want to look better, feel better, and have more energy for life and business. Start every day with Healthy Intent and follow them at healthyintent.com.
You've been listening to The Business Kitchen Show. Tune in each week for saucy interviews with business owners and to pick up fresh ingredients for your business success. The conversation continues after each episode on the Business Kitchen Show Facebook page. For the full show menu, visit businesskitchenshow.com.